So, a lot has been going down in the real world and online as of late. Stuff I probably can't even show footage of without risking nuking this video off YouTube. Now, I'm going to assume a majority of people watching this know who Makku is, but for those that don't, here's a quick summary. Makku is a 20-year-old Italian vocal synth user and is one of the more well-known people in at least the English-speaking community. Basically, Makku revealed he was using a pirated version of Vocaloid 5 on a live stream, and you could tell because the names of the pirated version are different than the legitimate paid ones. When people were calling this out, he opted to spread misinformation, contradict himself, and even tried to deflect blame by saying we should dedicate our energy to Black Lives Matter instead of him? He has also uploaded a response video to the drama, which I'll be going through.
But let's talk about how pirating affects the Vocaloid companies. Let's talk about Yamaha, for example. Yamaha is not affected in the slightest by piracy of the software.
Also, okay, to take something out of your playbook, I know for a fact that Zero G has never used pirated versions of their Vocaloids in their promotional material. This is a hard lie. First of all, there's nothing in the research I've done to prove that claim, meaning you pulled it out of your ass. Talking directly to Makku again for a second, I would implore you to please stop lying and spreading misinformation. Piracy is doing way more harm than good to Vocaloid, and it's not some epic and cool anti-capitalist statement to pirate the program or Vocaloids themselves. Buy Vocaloid, be gay, don't do crimes, I'm out. Hey everyone, GraySlate here. So much has happened in such a short amount of time, huh? I think it'd be worth it to follow up and make a second part of my previous video on the situation. A lot of people are gonna be mad that I'm doing this, and it warms my heart to know that I piss you off with the shit I post. Big love. There has been an interesting response to my video. I guess mixed is the best word I can use to describe it. However, if there were just mean internet comments pouring in, I would have just let the original video stand on its own and just left it at that. However, as you can probably gather from this video, there is so much more that I have to go through. It is still a mess, y'all. Quick note, I'm not going to use all my epic stock images in this video as people won't believe I'm taking this seriously. Don't really care about that school of thought though. But also, just because I ended up with over 100 stock images in my Premiere bin and my current PC cannot handle that usage of memory. F in the chat because those stock images were amazing. Silver lining, I guess, is that I won't keep crashing the program with all those images and I won't have to search for any more. I would ask you now to watch my original video in full before this one if you haven't already. If you have, or in the case that you need a refresher because you skipped my banger of an intro, here's a short recap. Makku was outed for using a pirated version of Vocaloid on a live stream. He made a response video littered with misinformation, condescension, and even outright lies with no evidence to back it up. I made a response about double the length of his debunking everything he said. My response even included getting in contact with Zero G to confirm that Makku lied about their use of pirated software. I cited all the sources I used, which, again, something Makku didn't do. In my opinion, I also made it super entertaining. In that video, but more so in pinned comments, I extended an invitation for Makku to contact me and talk things out. I even welcomed a response video from him if he so desired. He instead chose to not only remove the Piracy response video from public view, but any video that included his voice. This is something that'll come into play later, so remember it. Makku had a pretty pathetic Twitter meltdown, which we'll get to, and his white knights all came out of the woodwork to what I can only describe as out themselves as criminals and pirates? Yeah, that group of a whole dozen people. There are also some very hefty allegations against me right now that really need to be addressed and debunked. I could not sit by in good faith and let those accusations be commonly accepted by the community. If they even would be, because people should know by now that Makku isn't credible anymore, but I digress. There's not really much else I have to set up for context, so let's get into the fallout. I'm gonna try to go in order from things that are smallest and, dare I say, insignificant to the most major things that push me into making the second part. Again, it's a lot to get into, so please strap in. We're gonna jump around a bit between Makku and the small group of people defending him. First, let's address the removal of videos. Makku admitted that all videos with his voice have been privated. I'm gonna say that I don't really care about anything but his piracy videos, so the fact he's hid all of them lets on to a bigger issue at play. Instead of responding to anything that I said regarding his piracy promotion or spread of misinformation, he has erased everything. This is clearly showing that A, he's a coward, and B, he's got things to hide. By deleting these videos, especially ones unrelated to the video I responded to, makes you look more guilty than you already are. I don't know why this is so hard to understand for you, Makku. Makku also got really bent out of shape about this joke I made.
Useless skill.
Makku took this to mean I was making fun of his voice, likely because he thinks I'm mocking his quote-unquote foreign accent. There's nowhere else I can stick this, but I don't know how Makku doesn't realize I'm a quarter Italian, if not more if we find out what's on my mom's side, and I come from a huge Italian family. My full name is public knowledge. You can tell that at least my last name is clearly Italian. Nikki is really short for Nicolina. I didn't come on here saying,
Hey guys, Makku has a funny accent cause he's Italian, guys. Laugh.
No, this is actually a joke I would have said about anyone, regardless of country of origin. This isn't even 100% a dig at your voice, as my intention was more to call you a soy boy for your promotion of piracy and lying. Chads like me don't pirate. People really didn't like that I said this. I had people that wanted me to apologize for saying Makku's voice trembles with soy. You know what? I'm not sorry in the slightest for that, or really anything else I said in my original video. People have been reacting to this like I called Makku a racial slur, which, if you believe soy boy is some kind of racial or homophobic poke or anything on the level of it, I want you to do something for me. Please step away from your computer, shut down all your social media, go outside, and get a life. The internet is not for you. You clearly don't have your priorities in order. I get called so much worse on a daily fucking basis, and I'm still here. Makku has called me worse names, and I'm still here. If you honestly think that soy boy is on the same level as shit like the N-word, you shouldn't be on the internet if your skin is that thin. I want to introduce you to the concept of the telephone game. In a nutshell, telephone is a game elementary school kids play where one kid whispers a certain phrase to the person beside them. That kid tries to repeat the phrase to the best of their memory to the next one, and it keeps going on down the line like that until it gets back to the one who originally said the phrase. Although the phrases the kids use are usually innocuous, that game is taught to children about the method in which rumors spread. The original phrase, even if it's something that's true, often gets muddied or even completely lost as it goes further and further down the chain. Twitter has been having its way with the telephone game with this soy boy bit. My actual words have been twisted into that I said something akin to a virulent insult or me being racist. Again, I have to reiterate that soy boy is something that if you cannot handle being called, you should honest to God not be on the internet. There's so much worse I could have called Makku that I didn't, because I think that making jokes about his appearance, race, ethnicity, etc. are just low-hanging fruit that would detract from my message. Did I poke fun at some grammar mistakes he made? Sure, but I would have done that to make fun of anyone because it's petty and, I'm petty. I said his tone was pretentious, but that was more so in his god-awful condescending delivery. It still has nothing to do with this accent, where he's from, none of that. Makku also said I stooped to making fun of his appearance. This is so obviously not true. I did say your voice is dripping with soy. But I never once made fun of anything about your body. Not your weight, not your face, not your race, not your ethnicity. I wouldn't even consider what I said to even be mocking your accent. I only have your avatar to go off of. I don't even know what you look like in real life. How the hell could I know shit about what you look like if I've never seen a picture of you? This sounds dumb, but I'm gonna lay myself bare here anyway. I'm someone who's highly insecure about how my voice sounds. I had a script to help me along for this video and the first one, but I'm very uncomfortable speaking without one. I think my voice is too girly, I get mush mouth a lot, I stutter, and I feel that my ability to speak off the cuff is going to completely disappear in the future due to mental illness and just cognitive decline in general. That's something that not a lot of people knew until now. If I had someone tell me that my voice trembles with soy, I'd be in agreement. I would certainly not have a 4-star meltdown on Twitter about it and delete my videos with my voice in them. God. But guess what? There's more! I know exactly why Makku and his defenders latched onto this point in particular so hard. Makku even said it himself.
This is the only point I want to make. I literally could care less about anything that was said in the video. Making fun of my voice is not okay and doesn't help the point in any way.
Makku revealed in his own words that he's not going to address anything else I said in my video. Not the piracy shit, not the lies about 0G, just nothing. He instead has chosen to cherry pick the one mean thing I said about him and lambaste me for it. This is yet another bad look for Makku. Oh my god, steal his look! Makku, you can keep saying me making fun of your voice detracts from my point all you want, but I can also say that all you're doing is avoiding responding to any actual points that I raise by focusing on this soy bullshit. All I really want from you at this point is to own up to the shit you said and did. You don't look good at all by doing what you're doing. Okay, that's about all I had to say on that front. I do want to talk about this point in the thread though. I'm allowed to criticize your actions on my Twitter, especially when I haven't mentioned you at all, therefore not directing any hate towards you, unlike you. I know you want that promo so bad, but me not mentioning you is the more responsible thing to do. There's so much wrong with this tweet, my god. All that does is make you look shady and cowardly. Also, people have been responding to me regardless of you not saying my name. I know I've been stoking the flames too, but even if I hadn't, people would still have gone out of their way to find me. People have been doing it since the video went up. Contrary to popular belief, I didn't make this video for any clout. I couldn't give less of a shit about fame, especially in the vocal sense sphere. I would like for my video to be seen in the community as it does pertain to it, but I mostly made that video in direct response to you. Did you know that people can make videos solely because they want to and can do it out of their own volition? Did you know that people can make videos that they're passionate about? I cannot believe I have to say that I didn't make this video with clout in mind and that I only made it to critique your points, but I have to spell this out for everyone line by line. Okay, also just want to make a quick quip about the next tweet in the thread.
Last thing to add, stop watching drama channels. I'm not James Charles, these are singing robots, get a hold of yourself. I'm not coming back to this, and I do not owe you a reply to your shitty video. I've already given you way too much attention just because I was uncomfortable.
No, you. I wouldn't call you the James Charles of the vocal synth community. You're more like the Jeffree Star. Your behavior is so reminiscent of what he said to James Charles when Dramageddon first broke. Jeffree is the person that started the whole James is a predator thing. Reminder that Tati never said that he was one in By Sister. When people wanted evidence that James was a predator, Jeffree backpedaled and said he was done with the drama and that even though he had receipts, quote unquote, he refused to supply them and insisted he was over it all. How is what you're doing here any different? Now, we're gonna segue into where the White Knights come in.
Oh wait, another very important thing. Don't harass other people about it. I know you did that. It's not cute. I'm telling you, complete outsiders to the drama.
Harassment. Sure. Yeah, if I didn't want harassment to happen, why did I say this at the beginning of my original video? Do not go out of your way to harass Makku, any of his friends, or anyone else involved in the current situation. Harassment is going to do nothing, and that is not this video's purpose. I do not condone or authorize any attacks towards anyone involved. If you know I was out here harassing people, why not, I don't know, provide a citation? I know you won't and you haven't thus far, but it'd be nice to have some sources to back up those claims. We're gonna see in a second that these people aren't outsiders like you say. Also, a lot of these people chose to get involved at their own risk. I only responded to people that went out of their way to find me, not the other way around. I'm well within my right to respond to people that are speaking to me directly. By that logic, who's really harassing who? Also, remember when you admitted you went on a blocking spree to block people who disagree with you? Keep in mind, you are the only person I have blocked at the time of this recording. Literally no one else involved do I have blocked, but oh, they sure do have me blocked. Speak of the fucking devil. It's time to talk about Makku's defenders. I'm gonna start small with a bad take. This was one I saw that I really need to pick apart because it's genuinely that bad.
I mean, no, you aren't really revolutionizing governments, but borrowing a free Makku isn't the same as stealing a car since it's not physical. Editor's note, question mark, exclamation point, question mark, exclamation point, because it's copied that, and even if someone stole the software, it's not like they can even make a profit selling music with it anyway.
Holy shit. In response, I said, quote, all the hard work Vocaloid programmers do doesn't matter because Vocaloid isn't a physical item, despite in some cases coming on CDs. What a bad take. I'm gonna expand on this because it's much easier to get the full scope of my point across without a character limit. It's not even just the programmers. There's artists, the people who research the science behind vocal synthesis, hell, there's even the voice providers on top of the programmers. So many people with titles I didn't even mention comprise the team at Yamaha and companies like Zero G, PowerFX, Internet Co. I could go on and list every company ever at this rate. It's so disgusting to say it's okay to shit all over their hard work by pirating something that takes so many hardworking people to make. It's also just a really misguided take to think, oh well, Vocaloid isn't physical, so that makes it okay to steal it. I already said it, but Vocaloids have physical boxes and come on CDs in some cases. Mine have all been digital, but peep all this sexy box art, guys. The last sentence also sucks, put bluntly. I said this in my first video, but people do make profit selling music that use pirated copies of Vocaloid. Even though this goes against the terms of use, so many people still do it. This has stopped no one, and unfortunately, it continues to happen. That's why I really preach to buy the software either first thing first or when you want to profit from usage of Vocaloid. It is the only way that you're actually going to show the developers you care and support their work.
Piracy's a sin, and you know how I hate that!
Also, just to nitpick a bit since everyone else on Makku's side is doing it, when I pointed out this person didn't actually watch my video, they wittily piped back with,
No, I didn't. So what? Talk to me now, you know what, fuck off.
but I'm not the one being civil. Okay, I'm the #1 cyberbully. I see, thanks for the clarification. There were some middle-of-the-road white knights here and there, like this big brainy.
Just because he called you a white supremacist doesn't mean you get to call him a soy boy. Redacted's point is that neither are okay, and if you believe someone is being a dickhead, don't stoop to their level. Also, please stop quote retweeting. It's more respectful to use normal replies.
To which I said, to be honest, if Makku can't handle being called a soy boy, he shouldn't be on the internet. Also, nah, I'm gonna keep quote tweeting because now I know it makes y'all mad. Again, all I've been saying is make me and know you. Also loving that when people realize they can't argue against me, they just insult me and drop it. Then there's, this dude. This is the guy whose name I won't be censoring, and there's good reason for that I'm gonna make clear soon. I'm not gonna sit here and cry about how what he's saying is harassment, but I will say he just does not know when to let something die. He's responded to me the longest out of anyone that jumped on the hashtag #GraySlateIsOverParty bandwagon. He actually got a little annoying, but again, I don't think what he said constitutes harassment. I won't be sticking to chronological order for these tweets as there's just so many, but I will be covering a lot of ground. Bear with me as I am getting to all of it. Dustin says,
You literally threw a 4chan soy joke at him, you lying piece of shit. Among many other low blows. Maybe watch your own video again before suggesting others do the same.
I'm gonna get into a portion of my response to this tweet a bit later as it relates to a point further down the line, but I will say here that it's really rich coming from him, as Dustin says this almost immediately after.
You just more accurately described a 30-minute video that I just skimmed through on YouTube actually, but go off I guess.
To which I said, so you didn't watch it, I see now. Admitting you didn't even watch the video you're criticizing speaks volumes, Dustin. Actually, a lot of people were admitting they didn't watch it all the way through, so that happened. Also, here's something else that was asked of by Dustin. Dustin wanted me to share my video analytics to prove that people weren't watching my video all the way through. Although, he seemed to think that it'd prove people weren't watching my shit video, though by showing the audience retention on this video, he's still in a double bind. It just proves me right that people aren't sitting all the way through half-hour content and are making conclusions when they haven't actually seen the whole thing. According to my analytics, the average view duration as of now is 6 minutes and 40 seconds. I don't know what this was supposed to prove, Dustin. If anything, this just proves that people are stupidly jumping to conclusions without taking the entire video into account. This makes you all look bad, and I genuinely don't think that you understand that. How this is supposed to make me look bad, I just don't know. Logic and rational thinking just goes out of the window in dealing with you guys, huh? This is gonna be an awkward segue, but can you blame me?
1. Don't gaslight me. Showing homoeroticism during the clips of Makku talking obviously thinly veiled homophobia. 2. Makku didn't need to cite sources. His facts are verifiable with a simple Google search. Try it. 3. The sources you cited were cherry-picked to fit your narrative.
First, as someone who's an abuse survivor who has been gaslit before, I find it insipid and dare I say offensive that you're accusing me of gaslighting you. I'm just convinced that you don't actually know what that word means and you just want a cool buzzword to throw at me. It obviously didn't work. Maybe look in a dictionary before you level something like that against me next time? Also, what fucking homoeroticism? What are you smoking? Where did you pull this from? Is it the Whippets picture? Is it this? Also, there's no homophobia in my video. If you'd watched it, you'd know this. I don't know Makku personally, and again, deja vu, I've just been in this place before. Why would it be relevant to talk about his sexuality in a video about piracy? I don't even know what Makku's sexuality is, nor do I really care. Homophobia my ass, dude. Also, that second point, this is so stupid. Makku does need to cite sources if he's making the bold claim that he knows for a fact that Zero G used pirated versions of their own product. He needs to cite sources for pretty much everything he's raising in that video. A simple Google search revealed for me that what Makku's saying amounted to baseless accusations. I didn't know that using sources to prove Makku was wrong is cherry picking, but thanks for that enlightening comment. Before I get into the big reason he was included, some choice quotes from our dear Dustin.
God damn, you actually made a 30-minute video of you licking the boots of Yamaha? That's dedication right there. I hope they see it. This, but unironically. Bold of you to assume that piracy impacts profit. Oof, some people really out there just straight up being classist trash and hating on anyone that isn't also classist trash.
Now, we have to get slightly serious because Dustin decided to ramp it up to 11. Dustin blocked me on Twitter. Took you long enough to leave me the hell alone, but instead of waiting to DM before blocking me, went to my email to say this. Strap in, it's a lot of bullshit on top of bullshit.
Hi, I'm sending this via email because apparently it's the only means to contact you directly. I'm gonna keep this as brief as I can. This whole thing has clearly gone on long enough. This isn't worth any more of my time, and for your sake, I'm going to say that it isn't worth it for you either. I know full well that you're used to this whole drama thing, where you go off slandering people in YouTube videos and on Twitter, and have never really experienced any tangible consequences for that. But there are consequences for what you're planning to do with your Part 2 video specifically, and although nobody else has ever pursued those consequences for such things, make no mistake, I will. So realistically for you, there are two options. Option A is simple: silence. I don't really care what you have to say about other people, aside from those I know personally, or about this issue, but I'm telling you now that all of this will be over immediately if you decide it's over immediately as well. You don't engage in any sort of conversation with me or the other person I know that you chose to harass previously, and make no mention of me or them in any further internet content, videos, tweets, posts, any of it. This is the simplest route and I strongly recommend you take it. Option B is a bit more involved, but it's an option that I'm pretty used to at this point, especially considering I've dealt with it in this way before. If you decide to ignore this and upload some video about me, or anyone I know akin to the video you uploaded about Makku, or proceed to make personal attacks or targeted harassment towards me or my associates on any open social media platform, I'm going to utilize something that I'm familiar with, and something you really seem to be fond of, according to your tweets.
The law.
I'm going to make this point very clear. If I or any of my friends are mentioned in any way, shape, or form in any content you upload to the internet after this point, I will be seeking full criminal prosecution pursuant to Maryland Code Criminal Law, Title 3, Section 8, MT Criminal Code, Section 3-803, 2017, Stalking and Harassment. Now, your behavior on Twitter technically already violates this law, in addition to Twitter's own terms of use, but I'm not really worried about that at this point.
Then why bring it up?
But considering both the content of this email and what the content of that video or other posts would likely entail, releasing such content would specifically be an example of you choosing to maliciously engage in a course of conduct that alarms or seriously annoys the other. 1, with the intent to harass, alarm, or annoy the other. 2, after receiving a reasonable warning or request to stop by or on behalf of the other. And 3, without a legal purpose. First offense conviction of this crime carries a penalty of up to $500 in fines, 90 days imprisonment, or both. Additional charges and penalties may follow as well. I'm going to make this point clear as well. You're not dealing with a child, and technically, you're not a child either, despite behaving like one until this point.
I'm 20, not exactly a kid.
We're both adults, and one way or another, we're going to handle this like adults. How this plays out is entirely up to you. This will be my last direct communication with you aside from what would otherwise be required in the event of prosecution.
Oh my god. That was so much shit, but I'm gonna unpack it. First of all, as you can see from this video seeing the light of day, I obviously didn't take your piss poor advice. I've never quite liked people trying to shut me down when I need to say something. There was no way in hell, as we'll be seeing later, I was going to remain silent. Second, I know people may not realize this, but this is clearly attempted intimidation. I'm not scared of this, as obviously, as I said before, I've not harassed or stalked anyone, and I think anyone would be hard-pressed to prove that I did. Honestly, with the amount of things you've said to me, this email, and how up my ass you've been, I'd say you're more a candidate for being guilty of harassment, but although you're quite annoying, I don't consider your weird-ass meltdown harassment. It just leads me to believe you've been smoking some illicit substances. I find it funny that Dustin is citing the law when I know fully well that if he took this case to court against me, it would be dismissed within seconds and he'd get laughed out of the room. If petty internet drama was heard in court as often as he thinks, I can guarantee you at least 75% of the US population would be behind bars. So many drama channels would be jailed like you wouldn't believe. I'm not scared of this threat of legal action. I know 2 lawyers, one I lived next to for about 6 years, and a high-ranking military lawyer. I'll also throw out that, Maryland, where I'm residing, is a stand-your-ground state. Make of that what you will if you're thinking about posting my address or coming after me. I'm honestly shaking my head at this whole GraySlate is harassing people thing. Nothing of what I said in my original video constitutes harassment. Not a single word. Was I a snarky cunt with a capital C on Twitter in my responses? Oh, absolutely. I'm a sadist, you know. But I think any lawyer would have a hard time believing that what I said is harassment when everyone I responded to were people that chose to engage. A lot of people were way quicker to back off than you, Dustin. Real harassment and stalking would have been if I incessantly spammed Makku or anyone's DMs, doxed people involved, spread malicious lies about the people involved, or, I don't know, tried to intimidate someone involved with threats of legal actions. Full offense, but you would be wasting a lawyer's time with trying to take this to court. This is something that I can tell you right now will get thrown out. I have not defamed anyone, I have not slandered anyone, I have not harassed anyone. However, I can very quickly point to how Makku slandered and defamed me by calling me names, very choice ones at that, and I can point to you trying to intimidate me into silence and getting salty as hell at me on Twitter, which, of course, isn't gonna work. I'm not scared of you, Dustin, I'm not scared of Makku, I'm not scared of anyone involved. Just try me. Now do you see why your name is mentioned? You are such a class act. See you in court never. With all that under our belts, here's where we get into what pushed me into making this part 2. This is what I considered the breaking point, and if we want to operate by Dustin's playbook, I would consider this a form of defamation. This has been present in my screenshots thus far, and my god, is it something juicy. Makku still just won't call me out by name, even though everyone else has and everyone already knows who you're talking about at this point. He's still not above vaguing about me though, as we've seen. This tweet I'm going to address is something I find inexcusable. There's quite a bit I want to say, so let's read it first before I interject again.
Anyway, if you don't want to be called a white supremacist, maybe don't tweet about reverse racism. The silence about BLM is also very telling. And I'm still criticizing your actions there. I'm not making fun of your physical attributes.
Oh, Lord. The white supremacist shit is just classic. This is such a common tactic when people get called out on bad behavior. I have done nothing but call attention to Makku's actions, including using his own words and tweets and using evidence that I show on screen and link in my description. Makku has run out of things to argue his case with, so he resorts to calling me a white supremacist with zero proof for that. Bold. Who's worse here, the chick with not even 150 subs saying you're a soy boy for your awful takes about piracy, or the guy who is so bent out of shape over the person with a fraction of his sub count calling him out that he resorts to saying she's a white supremacist? Think about it. Also, awesome that you're silence shaming me. I did allude to the reason why I haven't been vocal about recent events, in this case Black Lives Matter, in my previous video, but I didn't outright say what that reason was. I didn't want to bring that reason up because it would look like sympathy bait, and I just didn't think it was that relevant to the topic at hand. However, I see now that Makku has absolutely backed me into a corner. I'll try to keep my eyes dry through talking about this, but I make no promises. The reason why I had a semi-hiatus and why I deleted Twitter from my phone for a while when things broke is because my grandmother died. I won't sugarcoat it or anything, she's dead. My grandma and I were very close, and I had pinned on my Twitter profile for a while that I was going to step away for a bit to focus on things like her funeral and going through her stuff to see what I'd hold on to and what we just have to give away due to not having space for them. It has been really rough processing that sudden loss on top of everything else going on. That's a very truncated summary, but if you want to hear me go into more detail, you can either read my various DeviantArt journals on the subject or wait for the video I want to make in remembrance of her. Or both. It's whatevs. And to those of you that may say, oh, but why are you getting involved with this drama when your grandma's dead?
Did you know that people can care about two things simultaneously?
I knew immediately that I'd have to at least not look at Twitter for a while because I wasn't in the right headspace to deal with it on top of losing a very close family member. I know Makku knows this is the reason why, and he still has the fucking gall to say that I'm silent because I'm a racist. The reverse racism thing is obviously pulled out of his ass, but I do think I know why he jumped to calling me basically a Nazi. Alexa, play tabs. Oh shit, she actually heard me. Alexa, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up, shut up. Guys, I'll admit it. I made a bad tweet. I made a tweet out of anger and a genuine place of ignorance. For that, I'm sorry. Oh, no, it's nothing I said about the Makku thing. This is from before. When BLM started to pick up again, I had a very reactionary tweet that I see now as wrong and that I regret. Let me read the thread I made about my apology for you. Thread? Since Makku is hung up on this whole white supremacist shit, I might as well explain this tweet since this is probably what he saw and what he concluded his take from. In short, this is the one tweet I will apologize for, reasons why in the following tweets. This is a tweet I made out of anger, and I didn't read into that this wasn't white people can't experience racism in any context. It is instead meant to read white people do not experience the same type or level of racism as POC. This was a bad take, and I am sorry for it. This is around the time I announced my hiatus as I realized I wasn't going to be able to handle things regarding the topic. In part to how initially angry and shaken I was, but also because my grandmother passed away at about the same time. I'm still going to pull away a bit until I get dragged in again like I did, but me not posting anything about BLM or using hashtags associated with it absolutely doesn't mean I don't care. I do, and my heart goes out to those in the movement. I really dislike that anyone who isn't super involved in BLM is shamed regardless of the reasons one has. I understood that I would not be able to deal with this on top of grieving my loss and pulled away pretty quickly. That doesn't mean that I don't care. I don't think I'll delete this tweet or anything. If there's demand, I might, but I would view that as being shady and like I have something to hide. I'd rather just apologize for an ignorant thing I said than try to cover it up because it would all just blow up in my face. It should go without saying at this point, but I'm in no way a white supremacist, Nazi, racist, etc. Makku and likely others have just resorted to calling me that instead of addressing anything from the video I made, as they don't have an actual case against me. I hope that I cleared the air as this was weighing on me. This is the one thing I'll say sorry for, as I still stand by what I said in the video. I did genuinely make a mistake here, and I'm owning up to that. See? It isn't really that hard to admit when you're wrong. So yes, I am sorry for my really misguided tweet there. I hope you all understand that me not posting in relation to BLM is not a sign of me being maliciously compliant. I've only stayed away from getting involved because it's just something I genuinely couldn't handle. I hate that if you're not flooding your timeline with things about Black Lives Matter to the point of burnout, people take it to mean that you're a bad person. People have genuine reasons for not talking about it, like me mourning the loss of a family member, or just people thinking that it's not their place. To Makku and anyone else that is shaming people for being silent, stop. I can guarantee you that silence doesn't automatically equate to someone not caring or that they side with the All Lives or White Lives Matter crowd. This is such a dickish thing to say to anyone, especially for someone dealing with something so traumatic like I am. Also, I get the feeling Makku would still have found some way to mock me if I was endlessly posting about BLM, so there's that chew on. I could even wager a guess that Makku really overcompensated after the tweet where he tried to deflect people to focus on BLM instead of his issues, but low-hanging fruit. Too soon. I love that when Makku realized he had no argument against me, he thought he was really doing something by calling me a white supremacist and crying harassment. It's just so easy. Nobody want to be the villain, everybody want to be the victim. Ho ho ho, right. I think 13 pages of script is thorough enough for now. To Makku, I will say that if you want to swallow your pride and talk, my offer still stands, but do know that your reputation looks way worse now more than ever. I do think that you have a chance to come back from this, but it's a very slim one. I don't expect you to say that you're sorry at this point, and I would be surprised if you did, but I would be lying if I said I don't want to see that at all. To everyone that has shown support of the video and to me, I want to extend my deepest thanks to you. You've honestly been straight up chads. I love you guys. Even to those that said my presentation or delivery wasn't for them but still agree, I think you're great. I don't really make my videos to please anyone but me, and they don't have to do it for everyone. I just make what I'm passionate about and when I have something that I need to say. Thanks for everyone who wasn't afraid to stand beside me in all this. I really do want this to be the end of the Makku saga, and I have a feeling it is. Unless something even more drastic happens, I don't intend on making a part 3. I only really wanted to clear up assumptions about me and, dare I say, slander and lies. With all that said, thanks for watching this video. Be gay, don't do crimes, don't threaten legal action to intimidate people that disagree with you, and don't call people white supremacists with no proof to back it up. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want videos like this in the future. All my links are in the link tree at the bottom of the description. Also, one last thing, follow me on Twitter at VibrantSaki for spicy content, and at SlateOf, that is Slate of Gray, for just art and music videos. I'm a verified Vocaloid company bootlicker. Come join the club.
Okay guys, you can see at the end of the driveway, looks like Makku here decided to pay me a visit. Oh, he do be vibing though at the end of the street. I don't know, what would you rate this man's vibe? I'd say about 3 white supremacists out of 5 Nazis? Yeah, that seems about right. Hey, wait, how'd you get all the way out here? What the fuck are you doing out here, you punk motherfucker?